What's up, everybody? This is John with Archer Fish. Just a quick video here of my favorite bait. If I only had one bait to throw for the rest of my life for bass, what would it be? Now, as you guys know, you watch the channel, some of my favorite baits right now. I love the jerk bait. I love the crankbait bite. Those are kind of my favorite. I love the Topwater when it is going off. So Topwater is always really fun, as well as those reaction baits. But as you know, in Southern California, these lakes can be a little bit tough and a little bit tricky, and some of these bass can be very finicky, they're very pressured, all that stuff. So I love to throw, and it is probably one of the most versatile, the Fluke, as you guys know, especially on top. You can rig this in such a variety of ways. It really does produce, especially when the bass are going after bait fish. And this is one of my favorite Topwater lures. I just nose hook it and just dance it across the top, especially if there's boils, and it works like gangbusters. It also works in salt water. It's fantastic. All right. Also, when the bite is tough, mid-afternoon, it's hot, the fish are really deep, they're pressured, whatever it is. You know, these are deep reservoirs out here in California, most of them, so they can be really tough to get a bite at. The Roboworm and the Morning Dawn color is my favorite. Oxblood Red Flake is probably my second. So you get a Roboworm on a Dropshot, and Dropshot is basically one of the most consistent producers in Southern California for bass. I love the Dropshot, and I love the Roboworm. I always have a lot of Roboworms. This whole thing is almost all Roboworms because it works. That being said, the number one bait, my favorite bait, the one that if I only had one to use for the rest of my life to catch bass, it is the Senko, and specifically green pumpkin black flake. This and 5-inch, you know. In spring, when they're a little, when they're not quite spawning yet, the 4-inch kind of works well. But for most of the year, I only throw the 5-inch Senko. And in green pumpkin, black flake, I also have a variety of colors of Senko. I've got gray ones and silver ones if they're targeting shad. I've got black and blue ones if they're targeting bluegill. I've got some rainbow ones if it's kind of a trout looking day. I've got this red and black one that's produced, but my all-time favorite is the natural looking colors, green pumpkin black flake. I don't know why I like this one better than watermelon black flake, because that one produces equally as well for me, but it is my favorite, the 5-inch. And the reason why this Senko has just been revolutionary. Now, it's not as sexy as a jerkbait bite or a crankbait bite, or even obviously Topwater is probably one of the most fun ways to get a bite. But this thing is just so versatile. You can throw this anywhere. I can throw it here in California and get bites. I introduced my dad to it down in Florida, and he's been slaying bass down there with this. This Senko is just the most revolutionary plastic bait that we've seen in a long, long time. When I first started throwing it, probably 20-something years ago, whenever it first came out, it was just ridiculous. Just the way it sinks, you know, it has that little wiggle, and it sinks nice and slow if you're just wacky rigging it in the middle, you know, and it's just, for whatever reason, you know, the fish go crazy over this thing. Now, it doesn't work all year. Spring is great during the spawn. It's one of the best baits. You know, I kind of throw it with just the wacky rig, and I kind of throw it like it's not quite Topwater, but, you know, I throw it on light enough line where I can watch the line. And you know, in the springtime, you throw it and you kind of wait, you know, 5-10 seconds for it to get to where they're all staging, and you can see that line take off. You can see the line jump, and it's really an exciting bite. And it's very easy to throw. From beginners to experts, the Senko is so easy to throw. You know, you throw it off corners and points. You throw it, in my last video at Keitech, there was kind of a windy point, and I was drop shotting and dragging the Roboworm along the windy point and into whatever was on the other side where the water was a little calmer, thinking fish were staging there. Also threw a Senko back in there and let that sucker just sink all the way down, and boom, I got the biggest fish of the day. Also, you can dead stick it, which I do a lot of times. I'll throw a Senko and also be working another bait or testing out, you know, different lures or whatever while that Senko's sitting. So, you know, the Senko works for dead sticking as well as just moving around a lake. You know, you hit those corners and points and the steeper areas and just keep, you know, throw it, let it sink to, you know, about 10 seconds, and you could just hit the next spot, because when the fish are hungry in the spring and stuff like that, they're going to go crazy over this thing. And, you know, that's it. The Senko is the best soft plastic bait, and if I only had one bait to use for bass the rest of my life, it would be the Senko, because it works everywhere. It works nearly all year. It is fantastic. And I'm not a brand person per se, but for whatever reason, I'm very superstitious. So the Senko, the Yamamoto version, just seems to work better. I'm sure all those other stick baits work just fine. I've tried to throw them, like the Yum version, the Googan Bait version, and there's just something different about the way they make their baits. I don't know what it is, but I'm just hooked on the Senko. All right, that's it. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, hit the notifications buttons if you like this content. You know, I got much more coming. I got a fishing video coming up real soon. More of these. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow.